Busy. This morning I was, hey, good morning, Scano, backroom talk. How are you today, Roberta?
I'm fine.
Yes, we were talking about how busy we are, I'm going to say.
Yes.
I'm always busy, but you're busy too. A lot going on in many places. And, it's so important to keep connected with everyone, and especially with the work that you're doing and your group is doing. So I'd just like to say good morning and welcome to those of you who will be joining us this morning and probably later on. And just acknowledging that, it's a beautiful day. I'm lucky I get to look outside and look at the beautiful landscape around me and just remember how grateful to be for all of these beautiful energies that are provided for us, that sustain us in our wellness. So nice to see you, Roberta Hill.
Yeah, nice to be here. It was such a fun weekend, wasn't it?
It was so fun. Sherry and I were talking on Tuesday. Tuesday it hit us. Tuesday she's like, "I'm exhausted today." And I was like, "Yeah, it hit me about that time too." But we put that together in under, I think, 4 weeks. And it was, so when you do it that last minute, it's a lot of work in a short time. But I just wanted to acknowledge everyone that was a part of the Indigenous artisan and makers solstice gift fair that we had in Milton, and and really acknowledge all of the volunteers. We could have never done any of the work that we've done up until now without you. We have over 60 volunteers that are part of Grandmother's.
That's pretty good.
It's 60. Really amazing, and it keeps growing. Like the people that were there and that offered support, and hey, whatever we need in whatever capacity. It's really amazing to see so many people come forward that want to see an Indigenous center in Halton, but not just that, but to support the residential school survivors and the endeavors that you guys have and the visions that you have. And so we just wanted to take some time today with Roberta and get caught up, but more importantly, stay connected, right? Stay connected and answer questions that people had asked, and really just talk about the experience over the weekend when the public and community had the opportunity to meet with you face to face, and the other relatives that joined you in your area to talk about experiences and to be able to share the way that they were feeling, and it's a collective healing is what, we speak about a lot. And to be able to provide that opportunity for non-Indigenous people, our relatives from all areas to come and really be able to express their, sorrow or their, that's your space to talk about. I'd love for you to just kind of take it from here and talk about, what we did. Let's talk about what we did on the weekend.
Well, to me, it was like you never know what to expect, whether you're going to be received in a good way or not. But this was a gathering that everybody comes together. That's what I like. There was so much energy in that room, and people I don't know, but I certainly met a few new ones. But it was a big experience for us too, as like the residential school survivors that went and had a booth there, through Mohawk Village Memorial Park. So that was really a good opportunity to meet other people. And there were people that came up and expressed, they were kind of hurt by hearing all this, information about residential schools, And so it's sad to hear that, sad to see people that are on the verge of tears, but it wasn't their fault. They're beginning to learn. They're learning with us because they didn't know, and that history wasn't shared with them. So this is an opportunity where we can expand on that, I think. Getting that information out about the history of residential school. We can also have gatherings in the future where we're inclusive of everybody, and that's the way it should be, to talk things out, to have meetings of good minds, It's not about being angry, getting angry with anyone there. It was about coming together in a good way, which I thought was pretty good, and like I was saying, like, we're older, we didn't know anything about we're learning as we go too, even at our age, and I thought, wow, this is a big undertaking for us, but we did it. We pulled it together just like you did. We started with our online auction, and then we moved it over to Milton, to the crafting. And I thought, wow, there's things that you learn that you shouldn't do, and things that we can improve upon. But overall, I say it was a really good experience because, you get to meet people. I think John and Don was interviewed. I don't know the names of the people, but they got to speak a little bit about residential school as well, with somebody in the media who was interested in hearing what they had to say. So those are good things. We still have our voices out there, and I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, and we talk about that awareness piece and momentum, and really just being present and giving that opportunity, creating that opportunity to be present in community so that people can have a place to come and spend that time having conversations and expressing or even offering support. And so you're right, we had several newspapers, and there was quite a bit of media out there, and people that are interested in hearing more experiences, because we're in that place right now. There's so much happening all around Canada, and at the residential schools, and that are still standing, or even just the areas that they existed. But over at Mohawk Institute Indian Residential School, which is now Woodlands Cultural Center, and which is also known as the Mush Hole, is where your Mohawk Village Memorial Park will be once they now complete this investigation. So I was thinking, it's been over 10 years that you had been,
we've been working at this for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's the fact that you're not getting the voice out there. Well, now with Grandmother's Voice and our voices joined, we're getting out there. We're being heard, and so that's a good thing. And I think it's finally hitting home that there's more to residential school history than what people understood, because they didn't have that history taught to them. So people are waking up, they're listening, and they understand that there was a lot of brutality in this school. There was a lot of cruelty, and it was inflicted upon children, Indigenous children. So yeah, there's people who want to hear more, and they want to engage more. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, really. and talking about Grandmother's Voice and Mohawk Village Memorial Park, and just the groups of Indigenous people who have been really wanting to find create a collective or collaborative so that we can come together and support each other. That's initially what Grandmother's Voice was about, was just about supporting each other who, like myself, had journeys outside of reserves. I've been in the urban world my whole life, wanting to connect to culture. And I am one of thousands, of hundreds of thousands of people. They say 85% of Indigenous people are urban. That makes most of us, that are trying to connect to understanding and culture, and find the truth about our own families' intergenerational traumas. And so, now that we've, I believe that we've supporting each other, we're really becoming clear about what we need to do as urban Indigenous people. And that really is, and traditional too, because we need the traditional people to support and guide us in this. And that's, I think, the number one thing that we've done from the beginning is connect with the elders, connect with those knowledge keepers, and the people that want, that are open to showing us the way, instead of us just going rogue and thinking that we can do this on our own. It's so important, right, to be guided with the elders.
Yeah, and I think one of the big disconnects did come from, and we all know that, I think, is through residential schools. They made sure we were disconnected, you see, and so, and I know that a lot of Mush Hole guys, or even residential school guys, they didn't always return home to their home territory, but if they did, they didn't feel like they belonged there because of that disconnect. So a lot, I would say, went to urban centers, quite a few.
Yeah. And I remember like my own experiences with my father, blending in. Don't tell any, and he always said to me, don't ever forget where you came from. And I remember his whole life was a lot of anger, because he said, I'm not going to hide. I am not going to blend in. But I do know that that's the story of my grandmothers, is that they did everything they could to not, disclose that they were Indigenous, but my father's path was, no, absolutely not. I'm telling everyone, I'm going to show, I'm going to wear my Harley Davidson Indian motorcycles, whatever, right? Like, it was that guy.
But those were really hard times, and I can see why, even like with your grandmother, if they didn't return, there was a lot of, I'd say, cruelty with that too. Is that, why would you want to do this to a person? But I think it's that ultimate agenda, is what was the point of assimilation? Who benefited? It certainly wasn't residential schools. We were the result of what their agenda was, right? This is the damage we can do, to make sure that they don't know who they are. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, and actually, speaking about the result, one thing that we've started to do quite a bit in our community, but also outside, with corporations and organizations who are interested in, committing to supporting urban Indigenous people or Indigenous people, communities. They want to be in the community. They don't just want to, send money somewhere and not see the people and not get involved. And so through that, as Grandmother's Voice and a collective of Indigenous people, we're now able to go support those, that sector. I'm going to say the corporate sector, more private sector, and say, hey, this is what we know. And instead of, us as the people who have had these personal experiences can actually come in and share that. And it's been so important, because this age group, my age group, and a bit above and below, are the ones that never learned in school. They never learned anything. So in the corporate sector right now, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at those people that have never had any connection in the schools, never any education. And so when, right now, I'm finding that there's a lot of, like, the conversation is equity, diversity, inclusion. We can't do any of that. We can work our butts off to get that done. But until we understand the history of Indigenous people in Canada, you'll never understand equity, inclusion, and diversity truthfully and fully, until you understand what happened in this country, in this nation, to the people who were here originally. And that is so important for people to know that, which is why we are really starting to just open the doors to say, hey, walk with us. Come and support the survivors with us, because you're right, Roberta. We spoke, I think, at I want to say it was last year, before COVID, or just at COVID, in the middle of COVID, because we did the speaker series with the residential school survivors. And that's when you and I started to talk. And I found it really surprising that you were doing all of this work yourself. And so that's when everything that we were doing shifted. We were like, whoa, wait a minute here, stop. If everything is about taking care of our elders and, and protecting them and creating a better, an opportunity for them to be a part in society, then why are we leaving them to do all of this work themselves? And so it was very easy for us to present that to, all of the volunteers, the people a part of Grandmother's Voice, because that's what we all are. We're all volunteers. Everything that we've done is volunteer work.
And that's what we're doing, volunteers. And that's
right.
Yeah. And that's it. We have to get the truth out there. And I think that's what the goal is let's get to the truth of the matter. Everybody will begin to, they should be more understanding if you hear the truth. We'll stand up, we'll tell our truth. Maybe those other people, maybe churches and government might want to tell their truth. I don't know.
Well, and this is the thing that I think is really beautiful about how we've kind of moved forward is every day we get messages from non-Indigenous, I don't even know, our relatives will say, our cousins, because that's what Uncle Mike says that we refer to non-Indigenous people as, those that want to get involved. Like, we've never ever said no. And grandmother Renee and the grandmothers Gail and Cindy Lee and everyone that's ever been involved with us. This weekend we had a lot of grandmas there. I was so honored that they were a part of what we were doing. And anyway, they said, this is when we bring everyone from the four directions in, and we don't ever close the door. And if they want to help and they want to be a part of this and they want to support us, we just continue to say, come and join us, come and join us, go to our website, come and join us as an Earth Walker, and we'll move forward together. And we would have, I'm telling you, Roberta, you saw that those volunteers, every single one of our vendors said, they were so grateful for the volunteers that they made it happen. They just made every single thing happen, right from, Jamie at Country Heritage Park and his team that, set up the space for us. And then all of the volunteers that were there from first thing in the morning till at night, packed up, set up, provided food and coffee. It was unreal. And we just want to keep doing that. And that's what's so great. We had Zhu Qi, right? That's the Chinese medicine doctors were all there. And through that event, we've already set up donations going to Six Nations and the homeless and tent community in Brantford. We have some blankets going and some socks, and people they just are like, let us help. We want to help and we want to get out there. So it's so important to keep these events going and these opportunities, right? To invite people in whatever capacity. We would never say no, because everyone has a gift to offer. So
and I think there's a lot of people that do want to help. They just don't know. Sometimes they just don't know where to go, but when somebody offers help, I take it. I take it, even if it's carrying a picture or something, they want to help. And that was the good thing, is you guys help set up. And, it's like the old grandmas are, they're unloading this and there's all your volunteers. They'll say, come on, I'll help you. I'll take this. They take over. Go. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great. We had some amazing artists there, some artisans and jewelry makers and beading. Like, it was awesome. And so we hope to have some of the workshops going in the new year. But, let's, everyone's saying good morning. Hello, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
You can see yours, Roberta, if you go to the top right and you'll see comments, click on comments. And you'll see, and if there's anyone there that wants to ask a question, you can definitely ask it, because Roberta can see them too. And before we jumped on today, Roberta and I, we talk pretty often now, about our vision, about, what we need to do, what we need to continue to build and move forward through, and to create. And so we're excited, because I think we just have so many ideas about still amplifying the experiences and voices of residential school survivors. And this is, it's collective, and that's what I love about working with you guys is, you don't speak for, anyone, will say, right? But you represent a collective of survivors who have really want and need the space around the Mush Hole to be created into a garden, so that you can have a place to go and your children can have a place to go, to remember that as much as it was hard and it was the history, you want to have that space for healing. And I think that's I think it's a movement that should happen across Canada at all of these schools, is there should be a healing garden, or, something that should be put in place, a medicine garden, so that people can gather, like a monument, right? A living monument, which is what we started to do over here in Milton.
Yeah. The park is only one, like Mohawk Village Memorial Park will be, that is the memorial, but we put there's other memorial features that will go in. And so it's up to maybe once we get the park developed, we got to look at how we engage with communities. What do you want to see in here? What do you want? Like one of the suggestions, put that wall in there with all the names, right? There's many things that could go in there, but the park itself would be to bring some peace to that site where we can all engage, we can all get together, and it's a time to reflect, and it's a time to remember what happened to children here, the children that passed away that never went home, we don't know, but that, to me, that whole thing would be, the whole park itself is the memorial, and I want people to understand that it is about the children. It is about remembering,
Yeah,
And so we can gather together, and I'd like to see that where everyone comes together. We got to stop fighting and sit down and say, you know what, moving forward, how can we make change going into the future? You know, how can we engage even with the youth? They're the ones that are going to be, they'll be long after we're gone, they're going to be the ones standing up. You know, what do they want their future to look like? You know?
Yeah, and I think where the conversation about creating those safe spaces for people to visit, because it's not an easy visit at the Woodland Cultural Center.
No.
And so if we're honoring our, our traditions and our cultural beliefs and values, then we would have a space outside of that area on the land before and after, so that you bring your minds and your hearts together, and you know that this is something that we offer, because you can't bring people in, or you shouldn't, right? Bring people in, especially youth. Doesn't even matter if it's just youth, but bring people into such historical trauma.
It's trauma, a lot of trauma. Yeah.
Right. And
yeah, it is. It has an impact, even though people think they can just walk in and listen, but you'll come out of there listening to some of the stories that are pretty, childhood. These are childhood experiences, might be told by us as adults, but think of us as children who went through those things, and it is traumatic. It'll bring tears to anybody, really. Sure. So yeah, it is traumatic in a lot of ways. So that's where we would, there needs to be something on the site that can help people work through that, because they shouldn't have to experience that alone. Let's just put it that way.
No. And that's exactly, Stephen, that's exactly what we've been talking about for a couple of months is, even when we created the healing garden in Milton, that's what it's about. That's what all of these gardens are for. Right. And our elders say that, the amount of gardens in a community it basically represents the wealth of the community. So whether they're healing gardens or food gardens, it's a place to keep the community healthy and well. So you're right. It's prepare people before they go in, but take care of them after, right? We don't just put them in the bus and send them on their way. And so this is a very, I think it's one of the most important pieces of the visit that should be. And I love that, that was something that you spoke about right away, right? When we were talking about like creating this school or the grounds park, right? So there's just a lot of conversation. There's so much space for people to, to come and be a part of these conversations and these planning, and just to come together and create support. So we were talking about a lot of fun things. It's fun when you do creative events and bring community together, because so many of our volunteers left with ideas, right, about the space and what we can do moving forward. And, we should have an event and do more and really hold up and the survivors, and really, maybe make this something regular, so that we can, create an ongoing campaign to support you and to support others that are in, having these conversations. What I saw something on social media today from Isaac Murdoch, and then also the grandmother Renee mentioned something last week too about, the investigation that's happening on the grounds. And it's so important to know that, for people to know that this is a criminal investigation now. It's really important to be doing that. I know it's easy for people to say, okay, let's just do this and, locate the children and then close that chapter, but it doesn't work that way, and I'm so honored that like we get to stay close to you and support the people that are doing this work, because it's not easy, and especially now, like it's like you were saying the other day that you're, being interviewed, by police, and because it's an investigation, and it's so important that you all receive the support that you deserve when having to, I guess, think and share and talk about experiences all over again.
Yeah, and one of the things with that is, as survivors of the Mush Hole or any residential school, we can certainly say, we can be interviewed and speak about what we've experienced there or seen. But there's other community members that may have heard something from their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents. Even that's helpful. So it doesn't have to be just survivors speaking. It could be our community speaking up. Like, what have you guys heard? And I've heard different things over the years. That's why I think it's important we continue. But if anyone else in the community or other communities has anything else to add, certainly. I'm sure with this investigation, it'll be pretty broad. It'll be wide, because it involves so many communities, so many children over many, many decades. So, yeah, I think it's not just about us. It's about our community and what other people know.
Yeah, it can, because those are important.
You think about other people who work there. I mean, I would say most of the people are long gone, but there's always something, little tidbits of information that come through, my grandma told me this years ago. Maybe that's important now. It could be.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
People need to think about those things.
Yeah. And Stephen mentioned it as well, that holding people accountable is difficult challenge for victims and their families and community. And it is, but I think that it needs to be done. Right. And so to be able to support, you guys in any way, it's so important. Lisa mentions, hi, Lisa. Nice to see you. And I knew this, a couple of people had mentioned it to me at the event over the weekend, that there's a fire of hope at Kanata Village in Brantford this weekend, all weekend. So I don't know, since you're here, I don't know if you're still here, Lisa, maybe you can just say, can people just go and drop in, or is there a protocol, or, but maybe you can just share a little bit with us and we can post about that. But yes, it's so important to just show the support to community. And yeah, I think Grandma Renee's there, actually, she said. And those are important things in community, especially when it's a part of the culture, to have that fire going and have people come to use the fire medicine. And community medicine is so important. And we felt that last week. So anyhow, I don't want to drag on, but Roberta and I had some good conversation about ideas for next year and what we can do with the survivor group to really amplify and get them out into, community. And so keep your eyes open for us.
We'll be planning.
Yeah.
I think, we should all get together. We've got to make some long range plans for sure. And if anybody's got ideas, throw them out there.
Yeah.
Love to hear from somebody, everybody, anybody. Yeah. It'd be fun. Yeah. It'd be fun planning over the winter when you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I look forward to that. It'll be good. It really will. It'll be awesome.
Well, thank you so much for everything. And just saying that some of the people that purchased from your booth have been messaging saying how important it was to them, that they were able to support you guys. And someone specifically that bought one of the sticks from John.
John. Yeah, he still got his sticks.
Yeah.
No, that to me, that's awesome, because here's John Elliott, one of the older survivors that we have in our group. And he's got some handcrafted walking sticks or canes, and beautiful. He still has them. So if anybody wants one cane or a walking stick from John Elliott, just let us know.
Yeah. And awesome. Do you still have your auction on, or no? You're on?
No, that one's over, but I think we're going to start it up again online to see what else we can do. Yeah, we're still going to, may not be as big, maybe a couple of items at a time, but it's going to be out there again. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Yeah. And I was going to say, maybe we can just put some pictures on your Facebook page for those who are interested in supporting you. You can just post them there and tell people to mention or get in touch with you.
And yes, once again, I'd like to thank all the people who came out. The volunteers, the visitors, the one who helped support Mohawk Village Memorial Park when you bought the pictures or whatever you bought, even like, John's cane. John donated those canes. You know, he's that's what he wants to do. He donated them to the Mohawk Village Memorial Park auction. So that's supporting all of us, you know.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, it's really awesome. And like, let's do this again. You know, we gotta do it. We gotta. That's it.
Yeah. So we'll see you. We'll see you in the new year. I don't think we'll pop on next week, but you never know. We'll see if something comes up. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. And thank you, everyone, for joining us and sharing your words. And if you have time, make your way to the Canada Village this weekend. And it's pretty big. You'll be able to see if you're, what the protocol is if you pull up, and you'll see the fire, and I'm sure they'll have it nice, organized enough for you to figure out how to go, get in and get involved.
Sure.
So yeah.
Awesome.
And then also you can donate to the Mohawk Village Memorial Park. And you can just find that on their website, and there's a donate button, and it'll take you right to the support us or donate button. And they're still receiving donations. So, all right. Nice to see you.
Jody, I have one question. Are these comments going to stay on here?
Yes.
I want to respond to some of them. So when we get off of here, I can still answer?
Yep, you can go back. Actually, you'll go back to your own. I'll end the broadcast. We'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
And then you can once we end it. Just stay there and talk to you in a minute. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.